MLB released a new power rankings today. Not gonna get into the details. I just want to ask you one question off the top. Their top three, I'll read you the top four teams.
Yep.
Because I think there's a top four teams in baseball for me right now, at least.
Yep.
They have the Yankees at 1, Dodgers at 2, Mets at 3, Astros at 4. Right now, who is the best team in baseball? Not in terms of record, not in terms of how they're performing, but if there was a 7-game series, World Series, who would you pick? Who is the team you think is the best team, best equipped team? Who is it?
Well, I mean, you can't count out Houston because they're the best team to win a series out of all these bunch of teams because
think so?
they've proven it. But I will say, Alex, to me right now, the best team in baseball has to be the New York Yankees.
Okay.
I thought about it earlier today, and I knew you were going to ask that question today on the podcast.
You have my mind?
I did actually. I just knew it was going to be asked. But Yankees, Alex, I mean, you talk about top to bottom, that bullpen is so elite and just it's surprisingly elite. I mean, who knew Clay Holmes was going to have this kind of start to the 2022 season, pretty much stealing Aroldis Chapman's job pretty much. He has been awesome. The starting rotation has been, I mean, right now we saw some stats last week when the Angels are playing the Yankees. The Yankees rotation is off to the best in terms of ERA, the best start in franchise history. The franchise of the New York Yankees. I mean, we're talking about 27 championships. This rotation is so far is off to the best start. You're talking about Garrett Cole right now is pretty much your fourth starter. Garrett Cole is your fourth starter. You're paying him
By
all this
ERA,
money.
yeah.
But you look at Cortez, you look at Montgomery, you look at I'm trying to saying, is it Taillon?
I think it's Taillon. Yeah.
Taillon, okay. There's 10,000 other pronunciations of it, but Taillon, and then of course Garrett Cole rounding it out. I mean, that is just, to me, that is one of the deadliest, four-man rotations so far in a series. I think you also have Luis Severino rounding it out as well, and he pitches, some of the best baseball or some of the best pitching out there right now as well. But the offense as well. I mean, the offense has literally kind of just, I shouldn't say had to take a break, but they have so much more help now that it's not really all about the Bronx Bombers. It's about, the pitching staff getting it done. We saw that game, of course, the last game of the series with the Angels. I mean, they're down 1-0 in the 8th inning, and they just have to score 2 runs, and they do it, and they find a way. And, I mean, just a bunch of scrappy ball players to get it done. So the Yankees right now, I have to just say, are the biggest threat to, of course, a World Series championship right now. I will say the Dodgers, of course, they're going to be kind of like the Astros, where you really can't count them out because they'll find a way. They played a tough series this weekend with the Mets. They split 2-2. I think that's a good split for both teams because it just proves both teams are playing at a very high level this season. They did get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I will say Pittsburgh, surprisingly, is having a better year than I really did thought and think about because they are playing, I mean, they're almost 500 right now. They're 24-28, third place in the NL Central. But it's a tough question. I guess I would say, Alex, right now, the Yankees are the best team, in my opinion, right now. In a series, though, I mean, I'm sorry. I can't count out the Astros. I mean, they are going to be scrappy, and they just have an identity that's just, you really can't instill in much organizations, but the Astros just can't lose. So I guess when they get to the World Series, they can. But, the Astros right now are a team you don't want to play in the playoffs, but the Yankees are, in my opinion, the best team on paper and, of course, on the field right now in baseball.
Awesome.
Is that good? Good analysis?
Very good.
Astute?
But I will say I think I disagree. I think the best team in MLB right now, if I had to bet money,
shut up,
it'd be the Dodgers.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Okay.
The reasoning is as follows. I think Will Smith, I think you just go position by position, and it feels like they're always banged up. They were banged up last year. They're kind of banged up again. With Muncy has been banged up and struggling as a result.
I didn't realize that, I guess Kershaw too. I mean, I don't know the last time he
Kershaw,
pitched.
15-day IL. It says here on Baseball Reference. Heaney, 10-day IL, despite actually getting a great, I mean, I would say better than expected to his Dodgers stint. I know Bickford has missed time. Canley's on the IL. Kevin Pillar, 60-day IL. Edwin Rios, 10-day IL. So tons of guys having injury bugs at the moment. I think they're just so deep. They call up Ryan Pepio, get a start from him. Tyler Anderson, Travis, has been probably the best signing of the offseason, quite possibly,
Yeah.
in terms of just what was expected and what you have produced so far. Tyler Anderson, Travis, has just been an absolute monster at 2.59 ERA, 7-0 record in 8 games started for him with the Dodgers so far this season. He's just pitching like a madman. And the bats, Travis, I think are something that I will always count on the bats to come around for the Dodgers. They have too much talented depth. Bellinger is better than last year, not back to his MVP form by any means, but still overall a contributor. Betts is looking like an MVP in and of himself. Freeman is, I would say, very solid. Might not be the same OPS plus as like last season, but still a well above average hitter. I would say still a top 5 first baseman right now in the game in this season so far. Trey Turner, Chris Taylor, some above average hitters so far in the season. And I think everything else, Travis, it seems like everything else almost always figures itself out with them because they develop so well. They play so smart. Things continue to work out for them, and I just feel like they have this kind of factor where I feel like when you're just this smart and you have this many resources as a franchise, things are gonna go well for you. So I really am banking on them to be the best team in baseball when the season comes to an end. I think the Yankees might be that regular season juggernaut with the best record and all that kind of stuff. Like you said, if the Yankees so we're talking about who's gonna win the World Series. Yankees got to get there first, and I think they face the biggest threat if they have to face the Astros in the ALCS. That, like you said, the Astros have been there so many times; they're going to be so ready for it. I think I do like the Yankees a bit better in terms of the pitching staff. The Astros feel a bit light there. I know they've had some injuries, like to Odorizzi, and Verlander's been great, but I feel like he'll regress at some point here. But long story short, Dodgers, I feel like, have a pretty clear path through the NL. There are some other good teams, of course, in the league. But I think if they figure out the bullpen stuff, get Kimbrel right, they could really be a really deadly team. I actually saved a tweet real quick I want to pull up. And it was about Tyler Anderson and how crazy his start to the year has been. Let me find it real quick. So this was 3 days ago after his last start. In 10 appearances, he's 7-0. And has only issued 6 walks. He's the only MLB pitcher in the modern era. I think that's since 1920.
Wow.
Or maybe it's even 1900.
1901, something like that.
To be 7-1,
100 years ago.
To be 7-0 or better with fewer than 7 walks in the first 10 appearances of a season. So, just an absolute force in terms of winning games and avoiding free passes on base. So. I think there's tons to like about the Dodgers. There's tons to be excited about if you're a Dodgers fan. Gonsolin is having his best season so far by a mile, by a long shot. And I think if Kershaw and Muncy can show some signs of life. Kershaw was actually pitching amazing before he got hurt. Muncy was struggling a bit, but I have no doubt he'll be back. He's a guy who I want in my team in a big series for sure. He's going to hit a bomb. He's going to walk a ton. He's always been good for them in the playoffs. So I think there's, like you said, almost like the Astros. They're the NL version of the Astros, where they've just been there. Their lineup seems like it's always a threat. They always figure something out. They're really smart. So
a proven team that you really can't be wrong about when you ask that question because, you ask someone who's going to be the best team in baseball at the end of the season. Dodgers have to be probably in, you probably have 3 options, and the Dodgers have to be one of them. And then Yankees, another team. And then, of course, you can just scramble if you want to say Mets, you want to say Astros, you want to say another team as well, like the Brewers or even like the Cardinals. But no, you're right. I mean, the pitching staff right now, I mean, just how surprising it's been with those additions. I mean, imagine if Heaney was still putting up those numbers right now and he was healthy. That'd be another thing as well. Honestly, it's a very similar storyline too, I guess, to the Yankees rotation. Garrett Cole, a 2.78 ERA right now. That would be pretty close to on track to, being the front runner for the Cy Young Award right now, but he's got better teammates on his side right now too. Nestor Cortez, a 1.5 ERA, Taillon, a 2.3 ERA, and then Severino, a 2.95 ERA. So just so much help right there. And then of course, what I say, Alex, I think with me the best thing about the Yankees is their bullpen, how deep it is. You have Clay Holmes, you have Michael King, you still have Chapman who can still figure things out in time. And then, of course, you got guys like Clark Schmidt who can come out of the pen, Wandy Peralta who can come out of the pen. The names kind of go on. And even I think it's Loaisaga. Loaisaga is still on the IL right now, but once he comes back, hopefully he can be beneficial for them at the bullpen. I just think that bullpen is so deep. And the pitching staff so deep. You're basically asking that if the pitching staff were to go 5 innings, you have the pen to basically lock down the game till the end, and you have an offense that is up there with, some of the best offenses in baseball right now. I mean, I don't want to face Torres. I don't want to face Rizzo. With the Angels, I don't want to face Trevino. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere. I mean, this guy literally came out of nowhere and is now, putting together one of the best offensive catching seasons so far. Guy has a 130 OPS plus so far on the season, and he's getting much of the catching time right now.
Could be looking at an all-star nod, honestly, just given being on the team that's getting all the buzz. Plus you're a Yankee, so that's gonna help. So
definitely, and you knew what you were gonna get from Kiner Falefa. Of course, the OPS plus at a 90. That's actually, I think, honestly, if you're hovering around 100 for Kiner Falefa, that is, of course, where I'd want to be with you. And then, I mean, the big name, of course, is Judge. You're getting an OPS plus at 201. So picking up the slack for guys like Hicks, guys like Gallo, Judge is going to get you on that. And then Stanton, of course, DHing to end it out, a 145 OPS plus. So the numbers, I guess the hitting numbers are a little bit stronger than the Dodgers. But, of course, you take them in a series, Alex, you can throw the stats out the window. You basically got to come down to who's been there, who has the experience. Dodgers have the experience so far. So it would be a very interesting series to come down to. And I know I think most of America is really hoping to see a Dodgers-Yankees World Series once. It's been so close the last couple of years. Teams have gotten in the way, and we haven't gotten to see them just yet. But that'd be pretty fun to see because I know they were a pretty, storied rivalry back, I think, in the 70s and the 80s with Reggie Jackson and all that stuff.
Even back when they were both in New York, in the 50s and all that. So it would be super fun if that ended up being the case. But I know teams like the Astros, teams like the Mets, they want to play spoiler to that. So, we'll see how that kind of continues to pan out.